Welcome to She Loves the Grid, where we discuss all things F1. Whether it's happening on the track, in the paddock, or beyond the grid, we'll talk about it all. And welcome back. Here we are, She Loves the Grid. After Monaco, I am Claire.
I'm Diane.
All dressed in your Ferrari.
Listen, if they're flying the flag at Maranello today, because it's a holiday in the U.S., so we're recording on Monday, I'm going to wear my Ferrari things.
And rightfully so. And then for people watching, you can see we're not in the same room anymore.
Boo. At least for now.
I'm back in Germany. Yeah, just for now, yeah. I'm back in Germany for a few weeks since we're Barcelona together.
I know. It is not as much fun to watch the races without you.
It's been a weird week, so I'll start off. It's like, obviously, I traveled back. My time zones are just a wreck. I'm just a complete wreck. So I don't know what day it is. I have no idea. It is Monday. We are recording on Monday. At least I get the alerts to remind me about the race, or I would have missed the entire race because I was just like, I'm just off. All my days. What? I didn't though, because I've got the reminders. I subscribe to F1's calendar.
Awesome.
So how was your week?
Busy. I feel like I say that all the time. I did have a couple days off, but you left on Monday very, very early in the morning, and my mom came Tuesday. So I had to flip the house, like clean and laundry and make beds and the whole 9 yards. So we just went right into a new week. So I'm not looking. I've been off work since last, I guess, Thursday. So I'm not looking forward to going back to work tomorrow. It's very busy.
You only had one full work week in May, so it's going to be weird.
I know.
Right?
Well, and this week is still only a 4-day work week. So the beginning of June is going to stink.
But at least you're taking some time off in June. So it's not an entire work week.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get going because now you've got stuff and I got stuff. I want to goof off a little more before I get back to my working next week. So anyway, let's get going. We want to start with the liveries and stuff. I got to show you some suits because this is kind of neat. Yes. So, last week we talked about how they did the homage to Senna and whatnot and whatnot, but I love how McLaren carried it forward into Monaco and just everything. It was so weird seeing yellow and green and not papaya.
Yeah. Every so often when they showed the car, I was like, who is that? Oh yeah, that's McLaren. But you know me, and I've mentioned this before. I love a theme. I love when we carry it all the way through. So from the suits to their special helmets to the livery, it was all Senna. And I just love that they chose this weekend in Monaco to celebrate Senna and his life. Last week I think was more about the passing. So I love this. I love the Senna. I love that font, the Senna S all over.
It's great.
Just beautiful. And again, we always show slides. So go to our YouTube. You can see the car if you haven't already seen it. But it's gorgeous. This is how you do a livery.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love the garages, everything, or garages, and everything. Just was all in the yellow and green, the whole team, everything.
It's amazing. They did a great job. And then the special helmets too. I think we have. Is it Oscar first?
Yeah, but I think we've got Williams real quick. Their livery. Then
livery. Yes. So
one more livery. The Energizer Bunny.
Yeah, to me it's not.
It's not the Energizer Bunny because they're Duracell, so it's a little weird.
Oh, what do you call this bunny then?
I don't know, but I was thinking Energizer Bunny too until right now, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, they're sponsored by Duracell, so it's not going to be the Energizer Bunny.
I think I've been calling it the Energizer Bunny all week. I even probably put that in our post.
Well, why would you use a bunny next to the battery when that's an Energizer thing?
I agree. Is it a Duracell bunny or is it a different bunny? Is it like for a movie?
No,
now we're so confused. I mean, here's the bottom line: the little bunny's wearing a little Duracell battery on its back.
I know the Durs and it's a pink bunny. And
I don't know why you would do that. That is poor marketing.
You know what? I thought I remember. Maybe I'm hallucinating, but now I'm starting to remember that at some point there was a bunny related to Duracell's advertisement, and that might be like the original classic bunny. Then Energizer kind of took it over.
Okay, well, bad marketing on somebody's part for stealing the other person's bunny, but listen, it helped. That little bunny, it worked. Let's keep the bunny.
The bunny's cute. I like little ears going back.
Yes, because he means business. He's flying. Like,
yep. All right, now the helmets. Okay. First we have Oscar. Continue with that theme. I love it.
I know the Brazil colors, the green and the yellow, I guess the old McLaren colors. I don't know.
Senna on the back.
What's that? Oh yeah, the Senna on the back. I love that Senna S. I really, really do. But also I like that he's kept his OP right above that. So, his logo and the Senna logo. Beautiful. I love it. I just love it from head to toe.
This one I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
I love what Lando did.
I do too. And he did kind of take his traditional Lando helmet, kind of like what Yuki does, where Yuki keeps the leaves but changes the colors. And he kind of did that with one of these helmets where he kept his little shapes, but changed the colors to be the green and yellow. Nice job. That's the one he wore in the race. I don't know when he wore the other one. Is the other one just Senna's helmet? I don't know.
Now I have to go back and look.
I know. Charles always does a special helmet for Monaco, but this one, even when I saw it, I love it. I love the red and the white. I think that's always a classic combo. He's got the diamonds in there like he always has for Monaco. And I love that Charles Leclerc Monaco GP across the top. Like, it's a thing of beauty.
It's perfect.
I don't think he ever puts out mini helmets, but I feel like he should. I don't think the Ferrari guys, I don't know if they're allowed to, not like the other teams, because they're Ferrari.
This one's amazing.
I love this. So this is Valtteri's helmet, and it was created to raise money for the Prince's for the Prince's Foundation, where they do focus on water and the state of the oceans. And so that will be auctioned off for money. And again, it's beautiful with the dolphins on the top looking like they're coming out of the water, and then it
reminds me of the aquarium there in Monaco. Then I went to it while we were there for the cruise. So it's a gorgeous aquarium.
Oh, that's amazing. We did not get to the aquarium. We basically stayed in the old city. My kids walked around Monaco, but we did not. My sister and I. So, that's so neat to know, though. Yeah, beautiful. Once again, like Valtteri does the most. It's artwork on his helmets, always.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Absolutely gorgeous.
And K-Mag. I like the purple. I love purple. So yeah, I'm loving that part of it. When I was going to look, I totally forgot he had a special
helmet. What's the bird, though? Is it a bird? Is it a bird?
It's a parrot. Yeah, it looks like I don't know what kind of parrot, but I don't know the history.
Parrots in Monaco? I don't remember seeing parrots in Monaco. I'm trying to figure out, like, why did he decide to do? Usually they have, a reason that they're doing a special helmet. I don't get it.
I'll be honest, I just grabbed a screenshot today.
I know. I know. I didn't even know this one was out there, but I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. I do like the purple. I'm not saying it's not a nice helmet. I like the different shades, but I'm just trying to figure out
I always think it's interesting too, for the most part, K-Mag and Nico under Haas, I don't know if it's a Haas thing, all of their helmets, I have to find them on the Haas's Twitter page, which is always a plethora of stuff. It's full of they're always tweeting all kinds of stuff during the practices, during quality, during the races. So it's like going through all this noise to go and find them, but I never find them on their own pages. I rarely see them tagged in it, so it shows up on their own pages. It's the weirdest thing.
Very bizarre. Yeah. I mean, it's nice.
And then Nico's.
I like Nico's. Okay, so he lives there now, so I get why he would do this. But I love the simplicity and the black and white about it. Like the art drawing, it's like, you know, a drawing of Monaco, the palace, it looks like different things. The diamond pattern, again, you know, like Charles has, that's synonymous, I think, kind of with Monaco. So I do really like this one. I think it's a neat little homage to his adopted hometown, if you will. But the black and white, the simple artwork, love it.
I do too. Very classic.
Very classic, gorgeous. And I love this one too. So Alex Albon, I love the matte finish on this. I'm obsessed with that blue and that pink color combo. And he did this special helmet because he released, and I told you guys that something was coming. Alex Albon Athletics. And it's a very small release, a great linen blue shirt, a white kind of jacket type thing. There's a very cool keychain that's a number 23, very similar like hotel keychain that you would get at old hotels in Monaco, and a hat. They're all very reasonably priced. Like it's unisex, so men, women can buy it. And I love how he tied it all together, but I'm obsessed with the logo, the Alex Albon Athletics logo, the little crest, the colors. I love this. Absolutely love it.
I like the matte as well.
Yeah,
I think
the matte.
It works really cool.
Perfect with that blue and that pink. So yeah, love that. Nice job, everybody. I guess next week we can definitely count on Lance maybe having a special helmet for Canada. Oh, it's not this coming Sunday, but next Sunday. And last year Valtteri did one, but I don't know since he did one for Monaco if he'll do one. But let's talk really quickly about like silly season stuff. So Mattia Binotto, there's rumors that he might become the team principal at Aston Martin. We don't hear too many like team principal silly season rumors generally, but it was reported that last week at Imola he was there. I think he lives in that area, so it's not surprising that he would show up. We saw him. Remember, we saw him walking into. But supposedly he had a conversation with Papa Stroll. So now the speculation is, will Mike Crack be out and Mattia is it? We don't know.
I would miss Mike.
Well, you like his booty. Am I wrong?
There's some priorities, man. There's priorities.
We don't usually talk about the drivers, but yeah.
I did see like one of the fan sites showed a video of Lance talking about the reason why there's the rules about the points and getting into F1 and how you just can't buy your way into from F2, from F3 and pass F2 and come right into F1. And people are like, it's interesting for Stroll to be saying this, but
he should not be. The majority of the drivers should not be. They all almost all of them come from very wealthy families. So yeah, come on now. But stop. Like somebody should be there like so anyways, what else? Alpine. Okay. This is very, very interesting after what happened in the race. We can discuss it all now if we want to. Well, hold on. Maybe we'll come back to this rumor. Okay, we'll go to this rumor. Yuki is looking to leave VCARB and maybe go to Haas. So he's not happy that he's not being considered at all to move to Red Bull, allegedly. This is what we're hearing. We're also hearing that supposedly within the next 2 weeks, Perez is going to be signing a contract. So they gave him Red Bull offered him 1 year. He said, no, I want 2 years. But supposedly before Canada, they want to announce that. So at least he'll be there for 1 year, which again leaves signs out of the. So Yuki's also looking to move. I mean, especially this weekend, he looked good and he finished in the points again. He finished ahead of Daniel again. So, I mean, I don't know if going to Haas is the right call, but I get wanting to go someplace where, you can maybe improve. And then the other rumor that came out this week was Sainz is talking to Williams or in advanced stages for Williams. What I didn't believe about that rumor is a lot of people were reporting it was for 2025. We already know James Vowles has said multiple times he wants somebody for 2025, 2026, and 2027. He doesn't just want a driver for 1 year. He's trying to build something. Alex is locked in. They have a plan. So I don't necessarily believe that rumor, unless they just got it wrong on the length of time.
Yeah. To see what Vowles and Williams is trying to do to bring Williams back to the heyday, and Alex having the confidence to stay there for 3 years. Obviously, he knows his stuff. I could see that as a possibility if they could give Sainz 3 years and build that team with two strong drivers that can work well together, and then work on. He's a good strategist, bring that into it as well. And then, continually develop that car because Williams used to be, one of the best constructors out there. So,
yeah. And they've unfortunately, when James came over, like they had a lot of work to do because it had gotten out of control. We know all the stuff about the parts, like they don't know what parts they have. They don't know where they're at. Like that takes time, although I feel like it could move a little bit faster on that end. Like it takes time to get it done. And this year, because of all the crashes and they didn't have the chassis, like they can't bring the upgrades. So let's start focusing on next year and 2026 and beyond. Like it could be. I'm not saying I would be mad if Carlos went there. I like Williams and they always have good merch. So I'd be totally down down for that. So
before we get into the race, should we talk about the adoption that the Leclerc family's growing?
This made my whole week. Okay, again, love it when we carry things all the way through. So if you don't know, now you're going to know. Oscar Piastri, heading into, it was either China or Japan, talked about how he has some ancestry there. And it was a small amount, right? But he brings it up. And then in Imola, he said, is now a good time to bring up my 3/16 ancestry, Italian ancestry, or something like that, like very small amounts. So people have been joking and teasing him about how like every race that's not Australia is also Oscar's home race because he's always talking about his small amount of ancestry. So we get to Monaco and he says, searching my family tree to find any trace of Monegasque roots, which first of all, I love. Like I love Oscar's getting in on everybody teasing him about, all the stuff. Charles pops up and says, I can adopt you if needed. And Oscar was like, call me Oscar Jack Piastri Leclerc. I can't wait to meet my new brother Leo on Thursday if he can pop to McLaren. And Oscar's mom, never to miss out on an opportunity to have a funny comment, it said, I have some questions at Charles Leclerc. So, I mean, that's where it started. And then it just took off from there, right? So like, it was amazing. So you have Oscar finishing second in FP1. And they put up the original on F1 TV. It just says Oscar Piastri, but then it got changed to Oscar Piastri Leclerc. And so I was like, that's awesome. Like, I love it. And then you have Laura Winter from F1 TV interviewing Arthur Leclerc, who she says after quali, obviously Charles on pole and Oscar's in second. And she does a whole interview with him. And it starts off with, what a great day for the Leclerc family. You guys have locked out the front row. And Arthur just takes it right along. And he's like, I know it. I'm happy for my nephew. I'm obviously happy for my brother. Like it just kept going the whole weekend. I loved it.
It was great. And then I loved how everyone kept putting his names in there because then they put these standings up there. And Nicole Piastri is like, it appears there's a vacancy for a son of my family. Then tags Yuki. And then later congratulates, very proud of my boys at Yuki and at Oscar.
And how much I would love to meet this woman. But and then when I saw that she picked Yuki, I was like, yes, I knew I loved her. Like I absolutely knew I loved Mrs. Piastri or Nicole Piastri. I don't know if she's Mrs. But anyways, I loved it. But again, you can see the practice classification. Oscar Piastri Leclerc. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I mean, this is the kind of
if I was an F1 mom, I'd be that way. I'd be that. Yeah, let's have some fun.
Have some fun.
Because in my son's dance family, I was adopting people all the time. So come on, let's just make a big family.
I think it was so. It just added some fun, some lightness around the whole race. But then to have like Charles and Oscar, first and second all the way through was hysterical. Like, what a great weekend. And I think actually even after the race, Oscar posted and said, "What a week. I was adopted and second in the Monaco Grand Prix," and so it was just like he's just closing the loop, wrapping it up.
He's a good guy. All right, well, let's get into the race weekend.
Yeah.
I'm really disappointed all the people calling for Monaco being so boring. We need to get rid of it. Even Max called it boring, but
how many times Max called it boring? A lot in race interviews afterwards. During the race, he said, "This is so effing boring. I should have brought a pillow." Like, I mean, I get it. None of the top 10 moved places. Everybody finished where they started. I get that. But I think, like, one, you should expect that from Monaco. We already know. Like, if you don't qualify well, you're probably not going to get anywhere. There was some movement at the very back, little things here and there. But it is more about the strategy. It is.
And all the class, it says in all the history that statistically someone in the first 5 always wins. Well, he was up at 5th at some point, and then he dropped back down to 6th, Max, because he went and pitted and changed his tires. It's like, this is one of those things I was like, well, Max, to be such a great driver and in such a great car, I'm surprised you didn't get up further. And in part, maybe you just haven't had enough practice in overtakes and situations. I don't know if it's hard to overtake there, but it's not unheard of from people outside of P1 to place. It's not unheard of. I know it's not common, but I figured if anybody had a chance, it was Max to get higher up. So I was a little surprised that he didn't progress further.
I think it was, everybody was just managing their tires. So, True. George, who was ahead of him, I think there was somebody else ahead of him at one point. Maybe I'm wrong, but George was ahead of him, and he was giving, he was 16 seconds, 19 seconds behind Lando. He was just managing his tires. Like, everybody was kind of going slow. At one point, you had, was it 7th and 8th or 6th and 7th were lapping 8th and 9th place. Like, that's how slow people were going. Yuki, they had him going really slow for whatever reason. I don't know. He was already a lap down, and maybe there was like less than 10 laps left, and his engineer said, "Okay, our strategy is good. You can push." And Yuki's response was, "Thank God." It's kind of like, it's about time. So,
well, your point about the lapping, Fernando, I think, finished 12th, and he was lapped twice.
Yeah, they were.
It's a small track too. It's also such a small track, but it was interesting. I just don't think it's too boring to like not go there,
Oh,
but
yeah, no, I think it's historic. And Yuki was almost, I texted you at one point and said Yuki's a full minute behind whoever he was behind. Oh, Lewis, he was behind Lewis. I'm like, he's a full minute behind Lewis. The qualies, I think, were like 1:14 around there.
Yeah.
So he was like almost a whole like quali lap time back. It was kind of crazy. I will say, like, once Max got his tires and stuff, he eliminated that. There was a pretty decent time difference between him and George, and he eliminated it. He rode George's butt the rest of that race. So I just think, he, again, hard to pass there. George can be defensive. There's just not much you're gonna do.
I think it was a pretty good race, though. I enjoyed it. Practice, there were so many people hitting the walls, like kissing the walls so much, and we had a red flag in FP1, and FP3.
Yep. Botas barely tapped that wall in FP3, and his tire just like, I know. He broke that gear rod or gear, I don't know what rod thingy. Again, we only use technical words on this. but yeah, that was crazy. Everybody, and I think they even said on F1 TV, like, they don't usually see people kissing the wall in practice. Not like that. they were all going all out.
It was amazing how many people did. So, because at the very beginning, Joe did and damaged his front wing, caused debris, and Charles ran over it. We were like,
drag that thing back. Car. Yeah.
I know Gasly and Ocon had some issues with their power unit.
Boy, what a weekend. Oy. Gasly, I don't even think, he did end up going back out, but 15 minutes in, they're like, we have a power unit issue. And Ocon came in with the same issue, but I think they figured out it was more of a compliance thing, so they got him out pretty quickly. But yeah, Alpine, they were kind of all over the place. And then FP2, I mean, I don't know that there was a driver that didn't tap the wall.
No, right? I've set listing names and I'm like, I give up. I think they all have at this point.
Yeah. I think we can find radio of all of them saying, I hit the wall, I hit the wall, I hit the wall. Yeah. It was just insane. But the other thing that was,
it's amazing that they travel so fast and hit it and then just keep going. You know, like that just isn't they're the greatest drivers ever, right? Because you and I hit something like that, we'd be like, we're dead. Like, Crack, I'm done. We just keep going. Just a little, like bumping into the wall. I just bump into the walk into it. Just keep walking. It's no big deal.
You do. But it's true. And it's kind of funny how a lot of the cars, it was not a big deal. But then there was a couple others where it was like, oof, that was not good. Not good at all. The other thing I thought was interesting was the jumping that some people were talking about. So at one point, Max was saying he had a headache at, different parts. And George was like, he couldn't barely hang on to the steering wheel in FP2 because his car was jumping at different places. So yeah, it was really, really interesting. And then Sainz freaking me out during practice because he was always so much further behind. Like Charles was looking good at the beginning of the weekend. I'm like, Charles winning this race, bar bad luck that has happened to him the last few years. He's winning this race. And then I was like, I don't understand what's going on with Carlos. Why is he so far back? Not good. Didn't like it at all, but it all worked out.
Quality. Yeah, it did. It all worked out.
Quali. So Sainz and Albon. So Sainz impeded Albon, but in the end, no penalty. The steward said no penalty. Couldn't believe it. I've heard that like Albon in maybe when they were in the stewards was very like, no, it didn't impede me, whatever. So I'm sure that had a lot to do with it, but I think that was kind of lucky. I think so
too. I was impressed, and it makes sense on that track that most everybody went out early. There was not people waiting to begin with. They just went out there, get some stuff going. But it was shocking the people who were out. Perez was out. Alonso couldn't get time. I was just shocked. I mean, Bottas was a little shocking as well because he's usually been scoring pretty high up, but
he's been getting to Q2 at least. But Zhou's not surprising,
and Zhou's not surprising. Sargent, unfortunately, is not either. But it was just very odd to see a couple of those out.
Yeah, no, I mean Perez and Alonso, I thought, okay, he backed out of his fast lap, one of the last ones, and I thought, okay, I mean this is definitely a track where you can cross the line again. And let's go. And he went to the pits. And I was like, well, that's it.
I was shocked. I did not understand why. I'm like, what's going on? But
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. So I feel something's just off with the car.
It has to be. It's probably whatever upgrades they were trying to do. They pulled a Canada, but early.
And then Q2, there was that impeding incident with Hulk and Ocon. Hulkenberg Ocon. Oh, yeah. There was that. And then Ocon was in the pits after a lockup. Oh, I can't remember. See the notes.
He was in the pits. He was 10th, but he was in the pits because he had locked up. And so it was like, the Alpines were looking pretty good during quali. Like they both got to Q2. Pierre was looking pretty good. And Ocon's in 10th, and you've got all these other guys down at the bottom. And it's like, but I was like, what is he doing? And then they showed the lockup, and it's like, okay, well, he can't go around on a tire that has a bald spot. So he unfortunately he just did not have.
I remember that now.
Yeah, he did not have the thing, and it was in the. I mean, to add some things like Pierre was the one that ended up knocking him out. Pierre jumped out of the bottom 5 at the last, on the last lap and knocked him out. So the drama at Alpine this weekend.
And Ricardo out again, and Yuki outperforming him again, as you said earlier.
Both him, Yuki, and Albon into Q3, which amazing, absolutely amazing. So yeah, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Ricardo, Stroll, and Magnussen all out in Q2. But you know what? Here's one thing I'll say about Haas, and we could talk a little bit more about them, but they had a decent weekend up until the end of Q3 or after quali. Like
after quali,
went downhill. But I mean, both cars again into Q2. And they were looking pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Not horrible at all. So there's that. Charles. Oh, Charles was
great. I had to put that quote down there. He's like, something moved in the pedals.
Yes. That was early on. And it wasn't good because he was not at the top of the times for Q1 or Q2. And I was like, here we go. He looked great in practice, and now they're going to screw him up. And I think I even said something to you at one point, is if they screw him over and he does not even make it out of Q1, I was going to be so mad. Like, there's no way. But yeah, I mean, all the other cars coming across the line, Verstappen hits the wall. Like,
and then he just bailed out that run. Yeah. It was like he didn't go for it. I was just like, wow.
Crazy.
It was an interesting lineup. But like you said, the top 10 kind of just how they ended. But Leclerc, and I love Piastri is showing really well,
He's been on it the last few races. I mean, let's think about, like, in Imola, he really was P2 for quali, but because of that grid penalty, the impeding, he popped back down to P5, but he's been on it, like really, really good. I think it really is a matter of time before he wins his first race.
I agree.
It really is just a matter of time. But I'm not going to lie. Like I didn't say anything out loud because I didn't want to jinx anything, but Leclerc on pole, I was like, F my life. Like Leclerc on pole does not convert. Like, what was it? 14, 15 poles he's had, and Verstappen has won every one of them. And pole at his home race has never worked out. This was his third pole at Monaco, but really only the first one that he started from pole, because in previous years, like, he hit the barrier, the car crapped out. Like, I mean, it just, it's like, no, I'd rather you be P2, but it all worked out. So
like, we're not talking about it. We're just going to let it ride until the
I was like, I'm not verbalizing any of this. I'm not putting it out into the universe. I'm not doing it. But what was shocking Saturday, so my mom's here. We were out for the day, and I think I taken her to the bank, and I'm just sitting there waiting. So I'm looking through social media, and I was like, all I see is the headlines, the clickbait headlines, Haas disqualified. I was like, what? Haas was disqualified from qualifying. They were supposed to start from the pits, but then at the last second, or maybe not the last second, but before the race, they said they can start at the very back. I don't know why, but that Checo probably was, that set up poor Checo, like for the situation. Maybe if they didn't start from 19th and 20th, that wouldn't have happened. But there was definitely a technical issue that the car, when it goes through the review after qualifying, I think one end of their rear wing in the center was different than the sides, and it didn't need, it's not supposed to be that way.
Something like that. It was just too large, but 5 millimeters or something like that. And that was enough. This was a technical disqualification.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, practice, they were looking good. Quali, they both get into Q2. Hulkenberg had the impeding. We know he can generally make it into Q3. And then they get this at the end of Saturday. Like, terrible. But race day, oh my goodness. I was happy everybody got away clean until we saw what happened at the back of the pack.
Yeah, I mean, first you've had 3 things that happened lap 1. First, the yellow flag comes out because Oscar and Carlos tapped each other.
Yeah.
And Oscar's side pod and floor hit Carlos's tires, how I saw it. So Carlos into the puncture. Oscar likely had some floor damage, but went the whole race with it. So, and then Carlos, there's a lot of controversy and people going back and forth. I saw another one today. I thought the rules said if all the cars go past, even under a yellow or whatnot, blah, blah, blah. Well, it started yellow, but then it turned red, people. And they had to do it.
And it's at a detection zone. It's at a detection zone. And not all the cars had gone past that when that happened. So, like, people.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it than it's simple what the person was reading. But because they all had gone past the detection zone, they had to go from the last time. They had official timing and placement, which is why Carlos got his third place back. And they were able to get his car fixed while under, as luck would have it, a red flag came out because of Perez's crash with the Haas's, and that was the three of them trying to go 3 wide on the narrowest track on the circuit, right?
Yeah.
And it was crazy, and we do have pictures of that. I do have that.
I mean, I keep watching this. I mean, look at that car. Look at all that's really left of Perez's car is the cockpit area.
Yeah.
I mean, that definitely saved him for sure.
Kudos to the safety standards, because it did. He walked away. I mean, he just got up there with a picture he posted was this one on the one of it up in the air, and another one with him just kind of looking on, just in disbelief, because he walked away. He walked away unscathed.
Yeah. I keep watching this, and I'm telling you, I know the steward said it was a racing incident, probably, nothing anybody could do about it. They were all to blame, I suppose. Well, maybe not Hulkenberg, but the rest of them, K-Mag and Perez. But I keep watching it, and it's like, I don't know. There's a point where Perez is definitely ahead, and Magnussen kind of starts to pull up aside, and then he drops back, and then he just decides to go for it, right? Like kind of up the side. And I don't know if Perez just wasn't expecting it. People are saying, oh, you can tell he looked in his mirrors and he saw K-Mag there and he should have moved more to the left. But I haven't seen the part to the left, so I don't know if Hulkenberg is over there.
I think he was. I think Hulkenberg was over there, and Perez literally almost had no place to go. And I swear I thought I saw Mag hit the wall a little bit too and kind of correct out a little bit. So it's almost like he corrected out millimeters, Perez corrected over millimeters, and it was just because it's so tight and you've got 3 big cars and the road was narrowing. It was just, there's no way you get all 3 cars through there.
No, you just cannot. You just cannot get all 3 cars through there. I mean, it's so sad. Like to watch the video from the sidelines where there's photographers there, and they all just like, I don't think those people moved fast enough. Thank God those barriers hold up the way that they do, because Perez hit that hard and you could see debris flying over the fence. I was like, dang, people, I would have been running sooner than that, because what if the barrier doesn't hold up? It was very, very scary. And I mean, I'm glad everybody's okay. I mean, I don't know who's at fault. Like I said, stewards said racing incident. So it's in my opinion, when they say that, it's multiple people's fault. But I mean, both Haas cars out, absolute nightmare for them. I mean, why even run? Somebody, I had seen that when they got disqualified and they were put supposedly in the pit lane. Somebody said, why even run your cars? Like, Monaco is just one of those tracks. I mean, I think you have
Unless
to.
you're getting data, kind of what they said about Alonso last week. They were just getting data, but now none. But and then while they were, of course the red flag came out because there was lots of debris that had to be cleared out, had to get all the carbon off the road and whatnot. But then we find out there was a third incident that happened, and that was with Ocon and Gasly connecting, and that was Gasly's front right tire goes up underneath Ocon's back left, and his car kind of flies up and whatnot, which was scary.
Ocon should never have, heading into the tunnel, especially, I think that's Portier. Like, Ocon should never have tried to take that spot. There was absolutely, I agree with what he said, even Ocon said it, but there was no reason for that at all.
Yeah.
Pierre's one ahead of you. That is your teammate. Ocon is known for battling his teammates, putting both cars at risk. This is not the first time, even with Pierre. He did it with Fernando. Like, I like Ocon off the track, but on the track, I think he's a menace. And he ruined his own race. He could have ruined Pierre's race. Pierre ended up getting 1 point, so that was good. But what could they have done if they both stayed in? It was ridiculous. Everybody said it was unnecessary. There's a lot of talk right now because Bruno Famin, who's the team principal, was livid. During the race, he did an interview, and he was pissed, like so mad. Unnecessary. There will be consequences. We will deal with those right away. And even this morning, Sky Sports was saying that they are considering removing Ocon for Canada. So maybe putting in reserve driver Jack Doohan. We haven't heard anything yet, but that apparently is very much a possibility. Like, they want to show Ocon, like, no, you do not get to do that. As Pierre said in his post interview, the team had a plan. I'm guessing that the plan was that Pierre should take, if Pierre is in front. Pierre said that was not respected. The plan was not respected. We had set it out. He's talking about Ocon was not respecting it. It's just it was so bad. So Ocon got a penalty, but he could not get the car fixed during that red flag. They couldn't get it fixed in time, so he left. That was when the team principal made the comments. After that, Ocon posted something on his social media apologizing, saying it was 100% his fault, blah, blah, blah. He's very sorry. He hopes the team gets a much deserved point. I think he probably heard what the principal had said and was, coming back. Although I do think that sometimes Ocon owns it. He owns it. But because he didn't finish the race, now he has a 5-grid penalty for whatever the next race is that he starts. So if he doesn't start Canada and say Alpine puts in Jack Doohan, then the next race, which will be Barcelona, he will have a 5-grid penalty.
He got 2 points on his super license too.
And 2 points on his license. I mean, it was bad. So going back to going back to our other notes that I kind of was like, ooh, about silly season. Hold on. Silly season. I was saying something about, okay. So earlier in the week, Alpine had said that they are looking at Mick, or this is the rumor, allegedly, Mick Schumacher to come onto the team next year. We've already kind of guessed that Ocon and Pierre are trying to look elsewhere, right? Like, the team they're not doing good. They want a ride. They want a seat someplace else. So rumors are out. They're looking at Mick Schumacher. They said he's doing an incredible job on their extreme team, and that he's very cooperative. He's very helpful to his teammates. So if they do decide, hey, Ocon, you need to take a seat for Canada, maybe they don't bring Jack in. Maybe they bring Mick in and give Mick a chance to drive. So that happened at the beginning of the week. All this stuff plays out. Alpine, I don't know. It's very interesting what could be happening there this week.
Next weekend's going to be fun, just all kinds of catching up on all the rumors and such.
Yeah. This is a big one, and I keep kind of obsessively like checking today to see, but they'll probably give it a couple days. Somebody else at Alpine came out and said, "Oh, the comments made by Bruno were, in the heat of the moment, and blah blah blah." But I also feel like, hey, it's not a bad idea to.
No, it's not.
No, this isn't the first time, and you weren't in charge. And the sad thing is like, Ocon has been outperforming Pierre all year. Like, he's the one that had the 1 point. Now Pierre has got a point, but he's been doing better once they were kind of like moving forward a little bit. It was unnecessary. Like, it's totally unnecessary. Yeah.
Well, after that, it was a pretty straightforward race, straightforward. I mean, Stroll did somehow strip a tire off this car, which was interesting.
That was crazy.
the tire's just gone. Like they replayed it a couple of times. Like how that happened? I mean,
I don't even remember, but I thought, oh no, Aston Martin they've had the worst luck lately because they spent like the whole race. They sacrificed Fernando's race for Lance, and they spent like 30 laps, 40 laps before that happened, getting Lance in a position where, maybe he could try to do something. And then he gets the puncture and he's back at the bottom. Back at the bottom.
Like my favorite first points for Alpine and Williams. And before we show the results, go ahead. And Carlos.
I know. So first Williams, like first points of the season. Yay, Alex Albon, like amazing. They went from like last to now I think they're technically 8th, which we'll look at in just a second. McLaren, Oscar, like Lando was just kind of there. Like he did all right. He did good. He was doing his thing, but Oscar, amazing, right? And like, I don't know. Mercedes, though, I want to talk about Mercedes for a second because they were looking really, really quick in practice. And then in quali, George out-qualified Lewis again. So I don't know if you heard, but I don't even remember who it was. If it was Pinkerton, Natalie Pinkerton, somebody was interviewing Lewis and said, asked him about George out-qualifying him, or did he think he would have qualified better because of how practice was going? And he said, like, they have another upgrade this week, but it's only on George's car. And George had a different front wing. And Lewis said, I don't anticipate out-qualifying George at all this year. Like, I think Mercedes is definitely prioritizing George. George is he's going to have the better car. So Lewis is just, he's kind of like, don't.
As much as they said, we'd love to give Toto said, love to give Lewis his last, championship with us on his way out. No, they don't. No, they're going to prioritize George.
Yeah. Nope. It's all about George. And George was, he was very mouthy at the beginning. He did not seem to like their strategy, but, what are you going to do? But really, like we said, one thing I want to say Max was bored out of his mind. We know that. But Max catching up with George, like I said earlier, amazing. That was insane. Mm-hmm. And it was he and Russell. So they were 5 and 6 that were lapping Yuki and Alex Albon, who were 8th and 9th. That's ridiculous. I don't remember that last year, but insane. But here's a stat about Checo. So he was out in Q1. After the Monaco Grand Prix, he and Yuki have the same quali stats. He and Yuki have the same quali stats, but they would not consider Yuki or Checo seat.
Yuki is going up while Checo seems to be sliding. Like, yes. Yuki's performance is getting better and better, and yep. Checo is consistently either stalling or sliding.
Yeah. Insane. But the race belonged to Charles. I was like, especially as we got down to the last 10 laps, I was sitting there just praying, like anything could happen. And Charles even said on the last 2 laps coming out of the tunnel, he was having a hard time seeing because he was crying. And he was like, Charles, like snap out of it. You can't do this now because anything can happen at Monaco. He's like, you've got to get through these last 2 laps. But to see him finally break the curse, to see him win on the Prince of Monaco was hysterical. Like he was just as excited as Charles, but for him to do this, and it was Mother's Day in Monaco, and like, oh my gosh, just well deserved, absolutely well deserved. I was in tears at the end.
And he got driver of the day.
I voted for him. With 20 laps left. I was like, I'm not waiting around. He is my driver of the day. As soon as it opened, I was all over that.
What's really cool about all this is our standings now. Look how close Charles is to Max.
I know.
Ferrari is to Red Bull. Like,
can I just say,
last year, it is not taken away.
No. And can I just tell you, like, I knew everybody was going to be like, Monica's so boring, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what's amazing, though? This is the most amazing season we've had in a minute because, like you just said, we've got all these teams. What was that, our 8th round? We have 4 different winners. We had Lando Norris's first win ever. That was amazing. Carlos, at that point, was still the only non-Red Bull driver to win a race in over a year. Then we have Charles winning his home race in Monaco. I mean, what an exciting season. And like you said, how far is Leclerc is down 30 points basically from Verstappen in the driver's standings? Like, what? And Ferrari's only 20 something points away in the constructor. That's insane. Absolutely insane. And that third, fourth, fifth, it keeps moving. Perez is down 2 spots. Carlos is only ahead of him by 1 point. And he's only, 5 points down on Lando. Like, this, I think we said this after Lando won, but it's like any of these top 4, 5 win a race, that is changing. That driver standing is going to be changing constantly.
Yeah, and this is no longer, this year is no longer guaranteed Max is going to win them all. I like one of my favorite ones was watching a TikTok where somebody had taken a piece of tape and put on their TV over the first place because it's been always Max, and then he finally is like, I can pull it off.
Yes. But you're right. I mean, it doesn't mean that they're going to win the constructor, especially if Checo kind of keeps struggling. Like, he has weeks where he's good and then he has weeks where he's not. But if Ferrari, if McLaren, their team, both guys are consistent, they could absolutely be number 1 in the constructor. I think this is a very exciting season so far. And I don't care if people say that this was boring. To me, Leclerc winning adds to the overall, like, oh my gosh, these are things that we've been wanting to see and they're happening. And Max is not running away with it at all.
That's good. That's good.
I know. It's very exciting. And to see Williams on the board, Kick Sauber now the only team without a point. And I don't know that we're going to see them get a point anytime soon. And also, just for the record, Ollie Behrman is still 12th in the driver standing.
That's true. Well, next week's race, we'll have stuff to cover, but probably another short one. This was fun.
Yes. Always.
Counting down to Barcelona.
I know. So exciting.
I know Canada's next, but for us, we're counting down for Barcelona.
Yes. But next week we'll talk. Maybe we'll have some news. Maybe there'll be some driver updates. Maybe we'll know if Esteban Ocon is going to Canada or if he's going to stay in France for the week. I think there could be a lot happening this week. So
lots.
Yes.
Well, thank you all so much. It was fun. It was a great race.
Yes, a great race. Forza Ferrari.
See you later. Bye. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe and leave a rating and a review. To stay up to date with She Loves the Grid and get all the behind-the-scenes content, you can follow us on Instagram at She Loves the Grid and on Facebook at facebook.com/She Loves the Grid. Thank you for joining us for the ride this week.